Guys, it is really cold out here. This video is not going to plan. We were supposed to be leaving tomorrow, but now that's not going to happen. It is too cold out, and if you haven't heard by now, a lot of the country got hit with record-setting storms. This is the third biggest single-day snowfall Ohio has ever had, and I just want to get out of here. Let's back up a couple days and start back at the beginning. We're leaving in a week, and there's a huge mega storm forecasted for kind of everywhere from Texas to the Carolinas. They're supposed to get snow and ice, and they're calling for power outages and gas shortages and, crazy disaster. And we're planning on boondocking in Tennessee, and the night that we're planning on boondocking is supposed to be a low of 13 degrees. And that will be a new record for us. So we need to figure out how to survive that night because our bus is not, the water lines are not protected, not heated, at least not all of them. So I don't think we're going to have any water. And before we leave, I need to go get the oil changed. That is something I could do myself. We just talked about that in the last video, but I don't want to. It's freezing cold, and I don't want to deal with 12 gallons of used motor oil and crawl around underneath here. Just don't want to do it. So we are going to get this thing ready to drive 1,000 miles. We're going to check all the tires. We're going to check the oil. We're going to check all the other fluids. We're going to check so many things. And then we're going to fire this thing up, see if it'll start. I've had it plugged in for a few hours, so we're going to do a nice cold start on our 12.7 liter Detroit diesel, see how that goes. And we're going to take this thing, get the oil changed, and over the next couple days, we're going to load up and get ready to go. So I mentioned that the bus is plugged in. It is not an electric bus, but what I meant is that the block heater is plugged in. And if you don't know what a block heater is, then basically it's a little heater. You just plug an extension cord into it, and it goes down through a wire into a little plug in the side of the engine, and it heats the oil. And that really helps diesels start on cold days. It is pretty cold today. If you don't know, diesels are traditionally very hard to start in the cold, especially older diesels like this one. Modern ones are much better about it, but diesels don't have spark plugs. They just compress the air in the piston or in the cylinder there enough that the air gets so hot that it basically auto ignites the diesel as soon as it's injected. And when it's really cold out here, it can't build enough temperature by compressing the air to make it ignite. So heating the oil and therefore heating the block a little bit, it just helps a lot, makes starting easier. But the bus hasn't run in a couple months, so I'm hoping that it'll fire right up. We'll find out here in a minute. Just need to flip the master battery switch back in here. Then I'm gonna put you back here where you can see. All right, let's go get an oil change. Bus fired right up, which is awesome, considering it's sat for 2 months and it's wicked cold out. It was, I think, 12 degrees last night. It's in the high 20s now, but still, that block was really cold. But started right up, no problems. Getting my oil changed at a and basically a truck stop. They have a service center out back. I got a quote, should be somewhere out the door for around $480. We'll see if that is still accurate. Might go get some fuel too. I don't know, we're at half a tank. My concern is that I saw, this big storm's supposed to come in, and I'm concerned that maybe we'll run into trouble getting fuel down around Tennessee, but we'll see. I do not like that at all. Bus leans pretty hard getting out of our gravel driveway. But let's see how this thing runs. I'm sure everything will be fine, but it's always good to get it out and run it a few days before you go on a huge trip, just to make sure everything's still good. So I got a question for all you gearheads out there. Why does the Jake brake brake harder when the engine's cold? I have a few theories, but I'm not exactly sure why that is. But obviously the brake, it works all the time, but when the engine's cold, I can hear it more when the Jake kicks in, and it obviously it's stopping the bus faster. Then once it comes up to temperature, it's just, I can't hear it as much, and it doesn't stop quite as hard. I'm not sure why. If you know, let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna go back here past the cat scale and that big building off in the distance. That's where we're going. Hopefully they can get us right in. Since it's a truck stop, they don't really do appointments, they just do first come, first serve. So we'll see how long we have to wait. Alright, let's go in and see what they have to say. The benefit of having your motorhome work done and waiting is easy, so they can't get me in for about 20 minutes, which isn't too bad. So I'm just gonna sit here on the couch and work on next week's video. Getting us in. So we're pulling in backwards to the bay because the engine's in the back, and they're used to working on semi-trucks where the engine's on the front. So we'll get pulled in here. It should be about $480. We'll see what the final bill is when it's all said and done. So we're in the shop, but I'm still on the couch. This is great, getting the oil changed. It's so easy to shop. So they have a big pit. Basically, I drive over a big hole in the ground, and they can stand up down there and they can just work over their head. It's so much easier than trying to change it at home, where I'd have to jack up everything high enough that I can get under there and try and goof around with a catch basin that's big enough to hold 12 gallons, and it's just a bother. So this is a little more expensive than doing it at home, but it's an awful lot easier, and they're going to grease everything on the whole chassis. There's grease points all over underneath the bus, and they're going to do all that. So that's another thing that I don't have to crawl around and do. And sometimes it's nice to just have a second set of eyes look at everything. So obviously these are professionals. This is what they do. They they spend their every day underneath commercial vehicles looking at things, and I like to think that I do a good job maintaining this, but maybe they're going to catch something that I missed or see something that doesn't look right to them, and that's worth a lot sometimes, just to kind of get a second opinion on everything and make sure that you're good to go for the season. So it's kind of another reason that I'm okay with paying to do this once a year. Good news, they cut us a little bit of a break there and got us out the door for $397, which is a lot better than I was expecting. So considering it's several $100s in oil, they replaced both fuel filters, both oil filters, and topped off the fluid in the differential and greased the whole chassis. I'm pretty happy with that. So we are now gonna go get some diesel. We're just above a half a tank, so we absolutely do not need diesel, but I can get it for $3 a gallon at a station just up the road here, and that's a pretty good price. So I'm going to take advantage of that. Then we shouldn't need to get fuel again until after we're already in the Florida. Yeah, we can if this is full, we can easily make it all the way to Florida without filling up again. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll keep this short, since most people have heard of fuel cards by now, at least if you own a diesel. This doesn't really apply if you have a gas truck or motorhome, but if you have a diesel truck or motorhome, you should consider getting a fuel card from a company called Open Roads. And this is not sponsored content. This is just something I actually use to save money. Long story short, trucks do not pay the price listed at truck stops. Most trucks are part of a fleet, and the fleet negotiates with Flying J and Pilot and whatever. They said, hey, we have 1,000 trucks, and if we only use your in-network fuel stations, will you give us a discount? And of course they do. That's how that works. But so Open Roads, there's a trucking fuel card, and then they're like, hey, all these people that drive RVs, they want to save money too, so why don't we let them into the program? So basically, the more RVs that join and more trucks that join, the better. Anybody can do this. There's no catch. Basically, the more gallons that everyone a part of this program buys, the better discount they can negotiate with these truck stops. So there's an app, and it shows you the price that you'll pay per gallon at whatever station you go to, and it's on average, I'd say between a 30 and 50 cent per gallon savings, which is huge, especially when you're only getting 7 miles a gallon and you're buying 100, 200 gallons of fuel at a time on a big rig like this. So it's a big savings. There's no catch. There's no sign-up cost. And again, this is not sponsored, which is something I actually use and might save you some money. So the guys at the service center, I was talking with them while they're wrapping things up there, and they're like, so you need a CDL to drive this thing? And I'm like, well, it's kind of a trick answer. So CDL is commercial driver's license. You need a CDL to drive anything over 26,000 pounds.
especially if you're going to be using it for commerce, for business. I have my CDL, so that it doesn't really, none of this really matters for me. But so when we bought the bus as a seated bus, it's a 56 passenger bus, it was still a commercial vehicle. Even though I was not going to be using it for commercial purposes, it was technically a commercial vehicle the day I drove it home. So I needed my CDL for that day's drive. Again, wasn't a problem for me, but other people that are looking into converting a bus, it's an issue for them if they don't have a CDL. How do you get it home? But once I converted it in the state of Ohio, I just go back into the title office and fill out like an affidavit, basically solemnly swearing that I have converted it into a motorhome, and there's some criteria that it has to meet. Then once it is retitled as a motorhome, then you don't need your CDL anymore. So anyone watching this could come drive this and not need any kind of special license, even though it is still just as big and just as heavy as the bus was when I bought it, with 56 seats in it. So kind of interesting story there. So we're pulling into a Sheetz, and so right now Pilot's advertised price is $381 and Sheetz is $309. So that is a pretty wild difference, and they are right across the street from each other. So I'm going to go to Sheetz and save, what, 80 cents, or 70 some cents a gallon. I'm probably going to buy, I don't know, 70 gallons. So pretty big savings just from going across the road here. I found that that's pretty normal, actually. Is that, gasoline prices don't change from station to station all that much, but diesel prices do. If you can go to the other side of town, or sometimes not very far away, then you can save an incredible amount of money. But I don't really know why that is, but just something I've noticed. So we're going to go around back to the truck lanes, and they are just so nice for big vehicles. It's easy to get in there. There's no tight turns. There's no backing up. There's no small vehicles to deal with. And it's just, obviously it's designed for big vehicles, and so it's just so much easier to get in and out, and it's so nice to not have to worry about it. Because I have tried to fit this into like a normal gas station before, and it's inconvenient to say the very least. And you can fill up from both sides if your RV allows for that. This one does, which saves a little bit of time. It's great. We got 80 gallons. And now I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna back the bus not back into the shop, but actually closer to our house, because we are going to be loading it up the next couple days in preparation for a month-long trip down to Florida. And let me tell you, I can't wait, because I'm not digging this cold, windy, cloudy Ohio. We were hoping to boondock somewhere just south of Nashville, and it's supposed to get down to like 13 degrees or something that night, and that's pretty darn cold. I'm not really worried about keeping the inside of the bus a comfortable temperature, so as long as the generator holds out, then we should be fine. But the issue is that our bays are not heated, and that cold of temperatures could definitely freeze a water line solid, or my water pump, or just cause a lot of issues. So I'm thinking for the drive down there, and at least until that next day, we're not going to have any water. And that kind of defeats the purpose of having a motorhome, is you want to be able to shower and you want to be able to go to the bathroom and everything, but that might not be an option for us until we get down to Florida. We might have to de-winterize it in Florida, which was not part of the plan, but might just be what we have to do because it's going to be so cold. What's the coldest temperature you have ever boondocked in? Are we crazy for attempting to do this when it's going to be 13 degrees? Might be. Might be crazy.
We're home. That was easy. All it takes is money, right? We're trying to leave and head south for warmer weather in 3 days. But we have the biggest snowstorm that Ohio's had in many years. We're supposed to get about 13, 14 inches here, something like that total. So we got to clear a path for the bus to hopefully make it about 800 feet down to the road. Hopefully in a few days the road will actually be clear, but we got to make sure that we can get the bus out because this is crazy. There's about 8 inches of snow on the trailer so far. Trying to get rid of the rest of it before it builds up even more. We got a path cleared around the bus with the shovel. It's drifting a little bit. We're, I don't know, at least 12 inches deep around the bus, but so cleared a little path by hand. But it's time to bring out the big guns to do the rest of the driveway and try and stay ahead of this. We're supposed to get another, I don't know, 6 inches or so, but it's tractor time. Fortunately, this thing starts pretty good in the cold. So glad my wife talked me into buying the one with the cab. Got heat in here. Well, we will in a few minutes. But this should be kind of fun. I like plowing snow. It's fun. So we got I think a 6-foot blade back there. And I usually do all the neighbors' driveways too, because it's about 11 degrees out right now, and can't be shoveling long driveways when it's that cold. So it finally quit snowing. I did get us plowed out, kind of. I think the bus will make it out of here when the time comes. We got about 15 inches of snow here, and I mean, this just isn't how we're supposed to start a trip, but I think we're gonna get it done. My biggest concerns are physically getting the bus off our property. The roads are fine by now, but getting from here to the road, which is a pretty long way, we have a long gravel driveway, and I've plowed it as best I can, but it's not perfect. And I've had to plow it really wide, and it's a little icy down there. I have some salt down. I'm hoping it's all going to be fine, but we'll find out here in a couple days when we leave. And when we leave here, it's supposed to be a high of 11, and we're trying to make it about halfway, a little south of Nashville. And that day, as of right now, is supposed to be down into the teens, so it's gonna be wicked cold boondocking, and if anything goes wrong, it could get kind of scary. So we'll see. This has all been kind of a change of plans. We've had to back things off a couple days, but that's all right, I suppose. This is just kind of how it goes sometimes. So check back next week to see if we make it out of here and how far we get down the road before we freeze. We'll see you next week.